Welcome back. A commentator, one commentator said, choosing a cabinet in Nigeria is like a complicated balancing act. And to do the balancing act, sometimes it's a very slippery process.
It is, because you have
You
to
go to
consider.
the left, you go to the left, you're hit, you're slammed. You go to the right, you're slammed.
Why did you pick from here?
Or why didn't you pick
from there?
And you pick from here. Why did you pick this person? Why didn't you pick that person? So at the end of the day,
Why did you give this portfolio to this person? Why not that person?
So the principle is torn between satisfying the citizenry, satisfying his political allies, satisfying his friends, and even sometimes satisfying his or her family, just to pick a cabinet. Well, it took the president 6 months to attempt to satisfy a broad spectrum of Nigerians. Did he succeed? Well,
He has a cabinet.
well, he does have a cabinet. Now, many of the president's men and women have accomplished much in their fields. That's debatable in some quarters. But there is so much to be done. The security challenges, dilapidated infrastructure, erratic power supply, moribund refineries. These are some of the challenges facing the country. Can these ministers handle all of this? Have they even seen the extent to which some of these challenges have gone? Well, these are some of the things we're hoping we'll get answers, or we'll be able to get some clarification to. Yes, we discuss, and we have to help us look at the challenges ahead of the new cabinet. Sonia Oni, who's the editorial page editor of the Nation newspaper. Thank you for coming.
Morning. Thank you.
Beside him is a social commentator, Ezekiel Nyaitok. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Ken Okolubo is a former commissioner, Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right, gentlemen. You're the only lady here. So we'll be kind to you.
Of course, you have to.
You want to ask the first question?
Well, let me ask Mr. Oni. We have the cabinet now. Some people have said it is taking too long. The president has said he's taking his time to make sure that he gets the right people. So, the portfolios have been given out. What do you think?
Basically, I think we have arrived. That's the starting point. Whatever misgivings anyone may have, we are stuck with the team, hopefully for the next 4 years. And I like to see it in terms of the challenges ahead, really. There's no doubt about the fact that the team that we have, they look reasonably good. And I have told someone, I said, look, it's probably the best chance that we have now to begin to address some of the issues of our development, issues of governance and development. I am not one who believes actually that you needed the cabinet, for instance, to get governance going. Some of the problems we've had before now is the fact that our institutions are rather weak. This image, this mental set that you needed some kind of strong men to move around to push things. But by and large, we have a cabinet now, and then we can get cracking on the issues of the governance. I think Nigerians can begin to now look at the team in the next coming days to see how well they are suited for the kind of jobs that the president has signed them to do.
Okay, Mr. Nyaitok, you see the Minister of Solid Minerals, Dr. Kaide Fayemi. You see the Minister of Transports, Rotimi Amechi. You see, what do you think of the allocation of these portfolios?
It's curious in some ways. In some areas, it's pretty curious. When you talk of a place like Nigeria, you're looking at things like works, looking at petroleum, you're looking at finance, and you're looking at housing, healthcare, and all of that. And when you look at the people that have been brought in to do certain works, I have tried to do a little bit of background checks on some people. And some offices need certain add-ons. If you are going to be a Minister of External Affairs, for instance, you must be versed with the international politics. Not only that, you must be a recognizable face or name to some extent. The same goes for something like finance. Finance has become extremely international and global. And you must not come in as a learner. You must get into discussions with IMF, and you're like, oh, hi Richard, how you doing? No, how Brunson, how's the day been? And you will sit down and you talk, because there's a lot of what you may call international power play, conspiracy, and you meet two presidents trying to shake hand. One is giving you a hand and giving you. There's a global power play. So I think that a lot of the ministers, for me, are good, very good, and there are one or two I wish were swapped. But by and large, Mr. President, I'd like to believe, has an idea of exactly what he wants to achieve. And like my brother has said, mine is, who knows, let's give him a chance.
So we'll still talk about some of those ones you think should have been swapped. But Mr. Okolugbo, yes, you have seen it too, and share your views.
Well, my colleagues on this, what I call it panel today, have made it quite broad. But the truth about it is that, you see, the problem I have with what the president did was, he sort of said, in the past we have had ministers who have not fitted into the ministries that they were appointed into, in terms of saying square pegs and square holes, or round peg in round holes. But if I was to take on what the president did in terms of portfolios, I'll give him a total minus, because he fell short of what criteria he had given himself in terms of square peg and square holes. First and foremost, you have a Dalong, a Solomon Dalong, who we know, from what we know of, or what we have read of him, was an assistant director in the prison services, and has had no stint with sports at all. Like, you make him the minister of sports, and you're talking about square peg and square holes. You have Kayode Fayemi, who we all know is an international person in terms of what he read and what he has achieved. He has a master's in conflict resolution, in war studies, and in so many other areas. And you put him in solid minerals at a time when we say the nation's economy is looking for alternatives. Alternative in terms of resources that we can use to cushion the shortfall in oil prices as we're experiencing right now, and the fact that the states cannot even pay salaries because of the little allocations that are coming from FAC. It's a bit worrisome. I don't know how much of solid minerals or geophysics or geoscience background the Kayode Fayemi has. Then my problem again, you have an Adamu who is a commentator, he's a journalist par excellence, quite all right. You make him the education minister. When you have a Daramola who has so much experience in education, a Professor Daramola, that you should have brought into education, you make him the Minister of State for Niger Delta. He's from Okitikwa, he's not even from an oil producing area in Ondo State. I mean, so it's a bit worrisome when he said that. I'm taking him on exactly what he said, and I'm looking at his ministers. Of course, when you say Harry Siriake, the former senator, he was a pilot and you put him in aviation, that's a square peg in a square hole. When you talk of Fashola, I had even predicted Fashola to be the Minister of Works and Housing. I didn't even know power was going to be added. I said it on the program. It's understandable because Lagos State is seen to be a needy country.
Because I was going to go there.
If he has been able to administer the whole of Lagos State, one would expect that he should power works and housing would be too much for him to administer.
If you say, for instance,
yes,
the Minister for Youth and Sports used to be in the prisons.
Yes. Interior should have been better.
Now
that's interior. He has no stint with us. He has had no there's no relationship between. He even said it himself.
Yes.
Between himself and sports.